Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today we're going to how to process a guinea pig, but we're going to do it on a fast way. And the reason why I want to show you this in a fast way is because a lot of people have criticized me that a guinea pig it's not worth it for meat because they say it's so small, it takes too long to process and this and that stuff. But to prove how fast you can prepare it, that you can even use it in everyday life. I have prepared here uh, one today, and yeah, it was a troublemaker, so he was going to die anyway. So yeah, it was trouble in two of the enclosures. I gave him two chances, and he always was the one who started to challenging the alpha and always lost. So yeah, that's the reason. That's the story behind this one. So yeah, and as you can see, I already cut off the head. You can use the head if you want to, but yeah, I it's not a pretty face to do it before camera, and you would only use the head, in my opinion, to use the brain to, if you're going to cure the the skin, not the skin, but the fur of the guinea pig if you're going to use it. Today we're not going to use it because, like I said, he was a troublemaker, and his back is full of scratches and bites because of all the fighting that he did. So yeah, I cannot use the pelt of the guinea pig today. So we're going to only show you how to process it in a most fast in a fast way possible, in my opinion. So let's start it. Like I said, I chopped off the head, and the next thing you want to do is cut off the feet, and we're going to do it to what's the English name? A ligament, and that's the point that you're going to the part where the leg is bending. We're going to this is all these plates. Everything is going that I'm not going to use. Ligaments here. I know that is not the most sophisticated way, but it is a fast way if you're going to prepare it very fast. Go. Legs are cut off. Another thing I want to say, some people will say, why don't you use the whole guinea pig? In Peru, they seem like eating it wholly with the head and even with the skin intact, where they burn off the fur of the skin, and then you will have more meat. But in my opinion, yeah, you could do that, but you will have to use fuel for that, in whether it's a sort of propane burner or a fire directly, like a stove. But it takes a while till it's burned off, and yeah, like I said, we're going to do this in a fast way, and yeah. What you want to do next is make a cut from the neck, and you're going to put the knife underneath it, and you're going to, with your finger, keep the skin up, and you will cut it like this. Because if you're going to cut from down inwards, there's a problem that you will cut more hair, more of the fur, hairs of the sorry, more hairs of the fur loose, and it will get into the meat, and you want as less hair in the meat as you can. So I'm going beneath it. And we're going to cut upwards. Till we get to the side of the chest, so to say. And the reason why I do this is because I want to have enough skin now to be able to do it like you would do a rabbit. So we got one side, I take it off. Now we're going to do the other side. Make sure if you do this if you're close to the legs, that the legs will not break off. And you will see in a moment what I mean by it if we do the hind legs. So, and now we're going to strip it like a rabbit. Like you can see, this was the throat. Now I can grab both of the forelegs and I can pull it, the whole body, like this. Alright, at the end you will take the hind legs and you will pull it over the cuts that you made with the legs. There we go. The other legs. There we go. And now we are at the end. And the only skin that is now left connected is with the anus. Usually you would cut it open from front to back around the anus and take the skin off that way. But in my personal use, because if you're going to process this meat to, excuse me, for later, the thing is, then you want to work as clean and hygienic as possible, so that there is no possible for salmonella. But in this case, that is something that I'm going to eat directly after this. So the reason why I do it like this is because I keep the intestines still inside instead of cutting it open and do it like that. And this will minimize the chance that I will cut in the inside intestines and it will spill out into the meat. But if you're going to eat it directly after, it really doesn't matter if some material from the intestines would get into contact or some other fluids, because you're going to cook, bake or boil it anyway, so there's much far less risk for bacteria that way. So, and also the reason why is, like I said, for certain fluids. So if I'm going to cut right here, I can avoid cutting. If I would cut it open like in the vertical way, there is a chance that in 50% chance that the bladder will burst in one way or another and infect the meat that way. In this way we can bypass it. And another thing, if you are going to slaughter a guinea pig, do it before they do it, how do you say this? Don't do it if they recently ate. I feed my guinea pigs 2 times a day, so if I'm going to slaughter one, it's usually before the first meeting, before the first time they will eat of the day, or after the first, somewhere in the evening before the second feed, because otherwise their stomach will get too full, and if that bursts or you cut it accidentally, the contents will spill out and get onto your meat anyway. So that's something that we don't want. And that way you also have less fecal material. Like I said, usually I would process the skin, but unfortunately, like I said, his skin is busted up, so we're not going to do that now. All right, now we're left with this carcass right here, as you can see, and now we're going to open it up and then take the intestines out, because if you're going to pull off the skin or you're going to cut it off, yeah, that will either take too long or it will create some cuts that you don't want and get some internal fluids in places you don't want. So we're going to, again from the throat, like where we started, and now we can cut a little bit we don't need to be that much gentle anymore, because there is no fur risk anymore. So we're going to cut open the rib cage. We'll see in a minute why. So now we got the opening of the rib cage, which is easily with a guinea pig. And now we're getting into the stomach. In this case I can even just pull it open if I have free skin. I will put this right here. Just the intestines, I don't want to. So, as you can see, you see this big blob right here. Apparently, one of my family members sometimes comes to feed my guinea pigs if I'm long away from home. And apparently, she has been feeding them before I could slaughter them. And like I said before, you should feed them a long time after, so they have digested most of their feed. But this family member of me must have feedden them much, because his stomach is just pure bloated. So that will make it a little bit more challenging to get a cut without spilling it too much, which is annoying. I should have perhaps thought about this. So I have to be careful. There we go. I cut the stomach out without the risk of cutting it open. Cut off the liver. Cut this intestines. Right. We're going to cut this side more. This screws a little bit with my timing, but these things can happen. Testicles. And we're going to keep the testicles. Yeah, now my whole planning is, if the stomach wasn't full, this wouldn't be a problem. Go. The full intestines are now out. And as you can see, this big blob, usually it will, if it's empty or they haven't been eating for a long time, before the second feed, it would only be this big. But now it is almost 5 times as big as normal. So that's a little bit annoying. You can use the intestines to go use it for fishing. You can use it to use it as a sort of feed for your perhaps dogs, or feed it to your chickens, or use it in your compost. So those are the things that you can do. So now we have the actual meat that we all going to use. So I'm going to cut open the rib cage. Let's first start with one of my favorite organs, and that is the liver. So this is a whole liver of a guinea pig, which is pretty impressive. As you can see, also you got the testicles that you cut out. Then we have the kidneys. I'm going to cut them both at the same time. And as you can see, there's a lot of fat around the kidneys, so that is also very tasty. Now we have and here we have the lungs and also the heart of the guinea pig. One thing I want to say, before you're going to process it, I would advise to let all the blood flow out of the body. So that's also a reason why I forgot to mention why I cut off the head. If I cut off the head and hang it for a few minutes, at least the blood that is inside the body can be drained. Otherwise, my whole plateau would be full of blood, and now it's almost nothing. So now we have all this organ meat, and now we have a carcass. And I don't know if you can see it, but if you know, if you're going to eat rabbits, if you're going to eat only rabbits, you will starve to death because they don't have essential fats. And people who lived in areas where they only ate hunted rabbit, they literally starved. So that's something that you don't have that much with the guinea pig. As you can see, there's a lot of fat here. I don't know if it's visible from my camera. Here's a lot of fat. The back is also a little fat layer. Here we also have fat. And especially around the shoulders, we also have a thick fat layer. And to be honest, this is not even a big fat layer, because this was a male that kept on fighting with the alpha male in the enclosure, and that's why he expelled a lot of energy, and he doesn't have that much fat in contrary to usual, because usually they have far more fat than this. So that is the reason why there's not that much fat, but still, if you wonder, there's not that much fat on the skin. That's also the reason why I prefer to pull it all off at once, because if you're going to cut it, you will miss a lot of fat, and if you pull it like I did in the beginning, there is a lot more fat that will stay behind on the skin that way. So that's the reason why I like it. So now we're going to process the meat in a way that you can cook it better, so to say. So it's not, perhaps this will look a little bit like KFC, Kentucky Fried Caviar sauce, like I always like to call it. I take the hind leg. Yeah, I did a wrong cut, so I had to bring it through the leg. So we have something like a small chicken drum, sort of almost. Here we go. Now, good cut. Here we have another chicken drum. I always start with the legs. You will see in a minute why. Now we have the front legs, which is more like a chicken wing, I would say. And these chicken drums and wings, like I like to call them, they contain a lot of the fat, as you can see. So that's also very handy. Right. Now we only have the carcass left. What I always prefer to do is, to make it easier to cook, is cut it in the middle. And that way you now have this back piece of the guinea pig, which is like the half underside, with some this tissue, how do we call it? Not really muscle, but a lot of skin and tissue. So we're going to lay it over like this. And now we have the rib cage. You can cut it fully open now. And this is also the reason why I prefer to not have their, how do you say this, that they have eaten, because otherwise there could be some chewed up food in their, how do you say, the pipe where you swallow food. I don't know the English name of this. These are very small ribs, so you can cut through the ribs very easily. Here we have some, how do you Americans call it? Buffalo wings or something, I don't know. we have this. I'm going to cut the other side. So we have another spare rib. Yeah, spare ribs, that's the name that I was looking for. So we have this one. And we also have the back, and this also contains a lot of fat. And there's also the windpipe. And the reason why I cut it up like this, like I said, the reason why I cut it up like this is now I have a good, how do you say this, platter to cook it or boil it in manageable pieces, and also it's more efficient to eat, and it's more efficient to cook to roast or cook into a pan, because now everything is flat, manageable to just put it in a pan, and when one side is cooked, roll it over and do it back again to make sure that there are no parasites or microbes inside. That's, like I said, the reason why I cut it up like this. You get the organ meat, kidneys, lungs, hair, heart, testicles in this case. So yeah, that is all the meat you can have from one guinea pig if you are going to process it. And to a lot of people, I would say, to all the people who say that is not, I will put my hands here to make it compare. Many people would say there's not a lot of meat onto a guinea pig, but in the rate that they are, how do you say this, fornicate and have smaller guinea, how do you say this, when they are procreating, they do it very fast, and usually in the first time it's one, second time it can be between 4 or 6 that they babies that they have after the first pregnancy. So you will have a lot of meat in quantity especially, and if you cut it, process it very nicely, you will also have it in quality. And like I said, you could also have the skin roasted. You can perhaps leave the head on to boil it that way, but to be honest, I have so many guinea pigs right now, I have to keep processing a lot of more than it's just a little bit too successful, my guinea pigs. I have to slaughter more than I anticipated, and that is very good news for my, how do you say this, for my preparedness plans and for my homestead small farm. But this is something that you can have almost for dinner a few times a week in the rate that guinea pigs will fornicate and get smaller guinea pigs. So yeah, for all the people who say a guinea pig is not a good meal, it's not enough. Yeah, there is fat, there is vitamins and minerals from the organ meat, there are calories from all the muscle tissue and the fat. So, and you can also boil the inside of bones also, so that's also very nutritious. And what you are left with is the intestines. Like I said before, there are several things you can do with it, and you got the pelt, but in this case we are not going to use it. I will make a video about how to process a guinea pig pelt perhaps later on, but as you can see, this is how you prepare a guinea pig, and this is what you get from a guinea pig that is, I think this one was 4 months old. Yeah, he was 4 months old, and it is what a grown-up guinea pig. It's not, a guinea pig is actually grown up from 7 months, but I had to kill this one earlier because of his troublemaking manners. So yeah, I hope you learned something from this video and give you an idea to raise your own guinea pigs as part of your survival plans to get fresh meat. And also another benefit, I made a video about this, by the way, or perhaps I will make another video on how to raise guinea pigs, is it will only cost me grass and 1 or 2 times a week a carrot to give them the vitamins that they cannot make themselves from grass. So that's the only thing you will have to feed the guinea pigs: water, grass, and 2 times a week a carrot perhaps. So, or something else with vitamins inside of it. And that is what you can keep a steady supply of it at your home. But before we end this, if you're interested in detective stories, there will be a link in the description to my book called Bloody Crosses. It's in Dutch. If you're interested, take a look. I should have said this in the beginning, but nonetheless, I hope this video gave you some ideas. And to all people who see this video and think that I killed uh, a pet, so to say, because in the Western world, guinea pigs are usually considered pets. Think about this. Guinea pigs have been domesticated for 6,000 years in South America. To this day, like in Peru, they are still being eaten like we in the West keep chickens and eat one every Sunday. They keep guinea pigs. And also the the United Nations has programs where they give guinea pigs to small farmers in Africa, so they can have a steady supply of meat with minimal input to have some extra food during the year. So guinea pigs are, I would say, I would love to see it on the march, that it will become more accepted, that this fantastic animal, there are, I don't see any disadvantages to these animals, because I will make a video about this first, but I want to make sure guinea pigs are a central plan in my survival planning, because I will just get grass, feed it to the guinea pigs. The manure that the guinea pigs leave, I use in my gardening as how do you say this, a mestolf, as a fertilizer. I can use the bacteria and the intestines as a fertilizer. Their bones, you can grind them up to a fertilizer. You can make clothing and other stuff from the pelts if they are in order, and you can also have the meat, like you can see from this. So guinea pigs are, in my opinion, one of the best assets if you're going to start a small homestead farm. And even if some escape, guinea pigs, because they are domesticated for 6,000 years old, they will not be able to survive in a climate like here in Belgium when it gets cold. So yeah, there is not a risk that, like in Australia, if one of the animals break out, they will multiply too much and destroy all the agricultural fields around me. So that's another benefit that you have from this, instead of rabbits. Another thing I want to tell you about rabbits: if you're going to take a rabbit, if you have two males in an enclosure, they will kill each other immediately. But if you're going to have guinea pigs, you can have more males. They will chase each other. They will bite each other while chasing, to show that they are dominant. But it's very rarely that they will actually kill each other. By the way, they can kill each other, but you will have to be a very stubborn little bastard to keep on going, to try to take over the role of the alpha male, which has happened a few times in the past. But after so many generations, it's like a sort of equilibrium has been reached, where they almost don't kill each other, but they just stay out of each other's way eventually. So yeah, I will make a whole video on how to raise guinea pigs more, but this was the video on how to process one. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers!